Yeah, so I'm gonna protect this turn. I'm gonna protect, and I guess click Hydro Pump into Annihilate. I hope it hits. The final game I did to Keldeo. Okay. I definitely thought the Calyrex was the more attractive target there, but I'll get the Hydro Pump into Magearna. Does less than half, but Magearna Flash Cannon does nothing into a Protect. So I will still get a chance to click Coaching here. It's VGC Legends. Once again, this is the series where I spin a wheel, get a random legendary or mythical Pokemon, speed build a team around that Pokemon, and try that team out on the VGC Regulation J ladder. I do this for two reasons. One is just that I like legendary and mythical Pokemon categorically. I think they add a lot of color to the games and are a lot of fun to play with. And the other, of course, is that by speed building a bunch of teams, some good, some bad, and as we saw last time, some just kind of silly, I have a fun little adventure here on the ladder and maybe learn some things along the way. Last time, we said goodbye to Generation 3. That is the second generation to exit the wheel. Gen 7 and then Gen 3. All the other 7 generations are still on here, but some of them just barely, as there are only 15 Pokemon total remaining on this wheel. The smallest it's ever been, and it's going to get smaller. Let's see what we get this time. We're not saying goodbye to a generation, as it looks like we're going to stop in Gen 5. And the pick is Keldeo. I do not know what I'm going to do with Keldeo, but let's go figure it out. Now, Keldeo does technically have 2 forms, but actually there's not really a direct form choice to make here, so much as it comes down to another choice that will determine which form that we get. Keldeo is in its Resolute form if it knows the move Secret Sword, and is in its ordinary form if it does not know that move. At least I believe that's still the case. As far as I know, the only exception is Black and White. Not Black 2 and White 2, just Black and White, where Resolute Keldeo did not exist yet. That was a Black 2, White 2 edition. And so Keldeo would always be in this form, whether it knew Secret Sword or not. And so I remember back in Gen 5 OU on whatever the simulator was at that time, probably Pokemon Online, I would always run ordinary form Keldeo, even though they usually run Secret Sword anyway, because that was legal with Secret Sword in that generation specifically, and running that form didn't tell the opponent whether you had Secret Sword or not. Although, I don't know that was actually much of a bluff. I think they could have reasonably guessed that you probably did most of the time. But now I think Keldeo will always be in Resolute form if it knows this move. And Secret Sword is pretty good. It's basically a fighting type Psyshock. Tiny bit more base power, I'm noticing right now. But yeah, what to do with Keldeo? So, its highest stats are special attack and then speed. It's kind of like a special Urshifu with those offensive stats and that water and fighting typing. Except that it doesn't have a guaranteed crit multi-hit attack, and it doesn't have a way past Protect. So it's a little bit different from Urshifu, I suppose. Maybe not quite as strong. What can I do with Keldeo? I could use Aqua Jet to activate a weakness policy on something. If this were a Dynamax format, that would probably be my first idea. As it is, though, it's kind of silly. I could coach something. I could run Coach in Keldeo. Coaching, Icy Wind, more of a support Keldeo. That could work. I could run Psych Up. I could go back to Smeargle Muck with Keldeo as the Psych Up restricted, but I think that's not what I want to do. There's not a ton else going on here. It gets Vacuum Wave. Gets Quick Guard. Upper Hand. I think Coaching and Icy Wind with some kind of other physical restricted partner is, reasonable. And then I can think about its water and fighting coverage in determining what partner I want. So I don't yet know whether I'll be running Secret Sword or not. Let's look at the other restricted Pokemon. I could run an Arceus form. I actually could run an Arceus form. I could run like... Does Arceus get Bulk Up? Or, no, I don't need Bulk Up. I have Coaching. I could run an Arceus form. What does Arceus get for... Right, like a physical coaching recipient with Ting Lu and friends to cover the special side. It's an idea. I can run... There's always Ice Rider Calyrex. don't know if that benefits from Icy Wind support, but it certainly benefits from coaching. And we can go double horse with Keldeo and Ice Rider. There's Groudon. Assault Vest, Groudon. The synergy's not great. Koraidon is probably too fast and frail for this idea, relatively speaking. There's always a Solgaleo or Duskmane Necrozma. Or Zamazenta. Zamazenta... Also faster than Keldeo, but not if I don't invest at speed, and really, why would I? I think Ice Rider Calyrex is probably the most convincing option here. I'm gonna go double horse. And then Ice Rider is threatened by, like... Well, actually, Dark and Fire types, among other things. So yeah, I'm down to try this. And I don't think I care so much about Icy Wind, so I can just do, like, coaching. Does it get a better option than Hydro Pump? Does it get Scald? No, it gets Muddy Water. I have to be alert to Wide Guard then. I'll just go with Hydro Pump. Secret Sword. And Protect. Detect. Protect. So it will be Resolute Keldeo. I actually like this form a little bit more. I mean, this one's okay. You know, it's more... It delivers what it has to deliver. This thing is more grown up. It's learned from its friends. But I do like the more understated design of this one, but it's not the one we're using. Double horse it is. Alright, coaching into Ice Rider Calyrex. I do need answers to things like... Well, so I am threatening Chi-Yu with Keldeo's stabs, although Scarf Chi-Yu will outspeed Keldeo. I'm not going to run a Choice Scarf on this, so I have to be alert to that. This is my restricted duo. I don't get any more restricted Pokemon. If I'm running Ice Rider Calyrex, I might want to go in more of a Trick Room direction. So I can then be thinking about stuff like Ursaluna, which could also benefit from coaching. I don't get a special, well, I have a special restricted, but I don't get a slow Trick Room-y special resisted like a Lunala on this team because I just have used up my restricted slots already. Could always run like Hatterene or Armarouge. Indeedee, Armarouge, Ursaluna, something like that. That could work. Is there anything else I'd rather do instead? So again, keeping Calyrex healthy is valuable. And with coaching boosts, shoring up its special defense stat is valuable. I even could think about Assault Vest Calyrex, but I don't think I'm feeling that. I think I'd rather have the classic Clear Amulet stuff. But I could run Tinglu. Or I could run Rillaboom. Rillaboom could be good on this team because it gives Calyrex some recovery, and it also changes the terrain on Miraidon and threatens Kyogre. I think Rillaboom makes a lot of sense here. I think there are a couple different directions I could go with this, right? I could just do like Rillaboom and Incineroar. I was gonna say Urshifu because that's just what you typically say next, but I already have Keldeo on this team. Rillaboom and Incineroar. I could do Grimmsnarl. Set up screens, make the Calyrex really hard to remove. And I probably want more special offense than just Keldeo, so I could run like Raging Bolt. That could work. Or there's Volcarona. Or I could just run... I could run Sinistra, actually. That gives Calyrex some more recovery. It gives me a little bit more special offense. Although it'd probably be more of a support Sinistra. Gives me another Trick Room setter. Or just something that's strong in Trick Room. So what was I thinking? Grimmsnarl, Rillaboom, Incineroar. I mean, I'm not really thinking about Trick Room or any speed control much at all at that point. There's always Farigiraf. That's a lot of support on a team that at that point is basically relying on Calyrex to win games. I don't think Farigiraf is really important here. Okay, so the two paths I'm thinking. Rillaboom, Incineroar, probably Grimmsnarl and something else. Or like Indeedee, Ursaluna, Armarouge, and maybe like Smeargle. Probably not Smeargle on this team. I think in combination with Keldeo, I'm feeling the Rillaboom, Incineroar stuff a bit more. Am I sure about Grimmsnarl? Not really. But, you know, some screens to keep Calyrex healthy could be nice to have. And, I mean, I guess I just need answers to Calyrex's counters, right? Like, I have an offensive threat in Chiyu, but it's not the end-all be-all. I need to beat Koraidon somehow. I need to beat Magirna somehow. I need to beat somebody else that I just thought of and then forgot. Zamazenta somehow. Koraidon, Magirna, Zamazenta. So is Darkrai too. I haven't seen a lot of Darkrai lately. Let's put a Focus Sash on Keldeo. So that I can at least like take a hit from a Koraidon. Or a Miraidon even. This is not what I do into Miraidon though. Koraidon, Magirna. I could just run Landorus. Doesn't beat Koraidon, but it beats, well, it maybe can beat Magirna and... Why don't I just run Ursaluna and still have Trick Room on Calyrex and give myself the Trick Room option? Let's do that. And then in Trick Room, that's an offensive threat into most of the stuff I named. Not so much out of Trick Room, but I also can reconsider this Grimmsnarl. It doesn't feel that important. Nah, let's keep the Grimmsnarl. Let's do this Keldeo. Terra type can be, I don't know, maybe grass. That keeps the flying weakness. I don't feel like Ghost is that important here. I'll pencil in grass. Calyrex's Terra type actually seems extremely important to this team. Given that I'm afraid of Koraidon, Magirna, and Zamazenta more than anything else, I think I'm inclined to say Fire. Even though I often run like Dragon. I could do Water as well. I think I like Fire here. And I'll probably just fill the set out with the typical high horsepower, Trick Room, Protect. Fire is also nice because it can't be burned. Assault Vest, Rillaboom, you've seen a million times. Basic Incineroar, you've seen a million times. Grimmsnarl, Light Clay, Prankster, Terra Ghost, probably. Doubt I ever Terrastallize it. Reflect, Light Screen. I can do Thunder Wave or Parting Shot. I think I prefer Parting Shot here. And Spirit Break. And then Flame Orb, Ursaluna, you've seen a million times. I'm just going to fill in the rest and then we'll get on the ladder. Okay. Pretty typical sets that I run on this channel, like I said. I think I had high horsepower on Rillaboom last episode, and I don't think there was any reason for that. I just kind of autopiloted it. But I do like U-Turn to be able to pivot out against Miraidon, and I remembered that while I was building this time. I have correct abilities on everything too. That's good. Yeah, basically the idea is to try to click coaching into Ice Rider Calyrex. I guess I can also coach Rillaboom or Ursaluna and get big damage out of those Pokemon. Keldeo covers some of Calyrex's weaknesses. I'm sure it's not perfect synergy, but it's not nothing. And we're gonna see if these two horses together can trample the competition. I'm a little bit unsure about Ursaluna on a team that's not very dedicated to its Trick Room component. I can set Trick Room with this team, but I do wonder whether bringing Ursaluna to games will make me feel more pressured to set Trick Room, which is not necessarily good. I have had teams in the past in this series where I threw in an Ursaluna, and it was very strong in some positions, but I felt like I needed to play a specific way to make it actually work. I've also had ones where I threw in an Ursaluna and just ended up not bringing it to games. We'll see what happens here. Maybe I'll get some insight onto how to use Ursaluna from keeping an eye on that. And this is min speed Ursaluna, if I've EV'd it correctly, but it will not be tying with Calyrex because I didn't bother to do anything with Calyrex's speed. This is not a very speed control heavy team. What can I say? Also, I tried to make Keldeo shiny, but I got when I clicked validate, I got a whole bunch of text telling me like 8 times over that shiny Keldeo is not legal, so can't happen. Oh well, let's go. Okay, Shadow Rider Calyrex with Incineroar, Fluttermane, Koraidon, Mirgol, and Chien-Pao. So they're immediately threatening to outspeed my Calyrex and knock it out with a whole bunch of Pokemon that are very capable of doing that. Pretty much everything on their team except Smeargle is a giant threat to Calyrex, and actually Smeargle is a threat too because it's probably faster and it has Spore. So I'm going to go Grimmsnarl, Incineroar. with Calyrex and Keldeo in the back, and we'll see what I can figure out for that. They lead with their Calyrex and with Smeargle. I often run Safety Goggles Incineroar, and I went Rocky Helmet this time for no particular reason, but I might regret that against this Smeargle. In fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and change it right now. Okay. That doesn't really help me in this game, though. Let's just Light Screen. And I'll click Knockoff into Calyrex. Maybe they let me. They go for the Fake Out into Grimmsnarl, which did occur to me was a possibility, so they are going to let me have this Knockoff. Astral Barrage doesn't do too much to my two Dark types, even though it crits Incineroar, and it's Life Orb Calyrex, so I'm not even knocking it down to a Focus Sash here. It makes sense. The Focus Sash is probably on Smeargle. But they do just let me KO their Calyrex turn 1. I'm a little bit surprised that they did that. I'll go for Reflect now, instead of Light Screen. It could be Clear Amulet Koraidon. I think I would like to just damage Smeargle anyway, so I'll go for a Flare Blitz into that. They Collision Course Incineroar. I probably am never Terastallizing Incineroar in that position, so fair enough. Now I have Reflect up. I can go Calyrex and Terrifier and Glacial Lance. The problem is Smeargle. But you know what I can do? I can go Keldeo first. The problem is Smeargle clicking Spore into Calyrex. I'm going to click Spirit Break. Maybe I wake up this turn. And I'm going to click Secret Sword into Smeargle. It won't KO through a Focus Sash. But Keldeo, because it has its own Sash, will take a hit from Koraidon before this. So the dream scenario here is that Keldeo survives this. Doesn't even need the Sash. Took that Collision Course surprisingly well, actually. And then the dream is that Grimmsnarl wakes up this turn and KOs Smeargle. It doesn't happen, but we'll get another shot at Smeargle here. Because Koraidon doesn't have any spread damage, almost certainly. Spiky Shield. They take out Keldeo. Grimmsnarl stays asleep. Again, what I'm trying to deny is a Spore into Calyrex. Grimmsnarl, once again, does have a chance to wake up this turn, but it's not guaranteed, but I'm going to protect and Spirit Break here. Smeargle having Spiky Shield means it probably doesn't have Wide Guard, but I'm still afraid of the... Grimmsnarl takes maximum sleep turns. Okay. Unfortunate, but of course there was always a chance it would happen. I Terrifier to deal with the Flare Blitz here. But yeah, Spore into Calyrex is just really bad news. And I never got to click Coaching this game. Yeah, there's the Spore. Grimmsnarl finally wakes up. It was guaranteed this turn. We knock out Smeargle one turn too late to prevent Calyrex from falling asleep. Their last Pokemon is Incineroar. I mean, they only have Koraidon and Incineroar left. They can't set the sun back up, and it doesn't seem like a super strong Koraidon, judging by that damage into Keldeo, so... I don't think this is over, but... Let's see if they let me Spirit Break this. They'll probably Fake Out into Grimmsnarl this turn, but I can't do anything to prevent that anyway. Collision Course into Calyrex. Doesn't do too much through the Reflect. Oh yeah, Reflect up is why Keldeo took so little, that's right. I'll once again try to protect here and just Spirit Break. Actually, there's no reason... Well, they didn't wake up anyway, but there was no reason not to be clicking Glacial Lance there. I get Spirit Break into Koraidon, it's knocked out, so actually they are down to just Incineroar now. And a high horsepower would have taken that out, but they forfeit first. Nice. Well, high horsepower would have done a lot of damage at least. And then I also have Spirit Break still available. That was a weird game, but hey, pulled that one out in the end. Thought the maximum sleep turns on Grimmsnarl might sink it, but they still just didn't have enough damage through the Reflect. I guess that's why people run Life Orb Close Combat Koraidon sometimes. Okay, Magearna, Ice Rider, Annihilate. Annihilate is a problem actually because it can Final Gambit my Calyrex. Indeedee, Ursaluna, and Flamigo. So Flamigo, what is Flamigo doing on this team? Copying Chilling Neigh boosts, I guess? I can copy Soul Heart boosts, but have you seen Flamigo's special move pool? There's a reason I haven't tried a special attacking Flamigo on this channel, at least as far as I remember. I'm gonna lead Keldeo Calyrex. If I see Annihilate, a lot of them are not running Scarf. And I can also protect and attack Annihilate with Keldeo. They probably don't target the Final Gambit into that. And I think I'll bring Incineroar and Grimmsnarl again in the last two spots. Maybe I want Ursaluna to play in Trick Room, but damage mitigation to get through Trick Room is also helpful. Yeah, so I'm going to protect. This turn I'm going to protect and I guess click Hydro Pump into Annihilate. I hope it hits. The final gambit into Keldeo. Okay. I definitely thought the Calyrex was the more attractive target there, but I'll get the Hydro Pump into Magearna. Does less than half, but Magearna Flash Cannon does nothing into a Protect. So I will still get a chance to click Coaching here. Indeedee coming in means that they can cover Magearna with Follow Me. But I think Glacial Lance should still hurt. Magearna is pretty physically bulky, and it's a Steel type, but I think it should still hurt. I'll go for Coaching while I still have the chance. Terra Fire to take a hit from Magearna and just go straight for Glacial Lance. I also could click Trick Room actually to reverse it, but I want to do damage. Terra Water just means it's not weak to high horsepower anymore. It was resisting the Glacial Lance either way. +1 Glacial Lance is a lot to these Pokemon, though. They set Trick Room, but then they also forfeit. So I think they were... I think they were anticipating that they would not have an easy time breaking this Terra Fire Calyrex. So, nice little quick game now. There, the coaching strat pays off. And I guess the big Keldeo Hydro Pump as well. And the Focus Sash, meaning Keldeo survived the final gambit. I really thought that final gambit was going into Calyrex. And I was trying to get damage on the Annihilate to weaken the final gambit after that turn. But it worked out better than that. Okay, Miraidon, Iron Hands, Lunala, Ursaluna, Incineroar, and Amoonguss. Scary team. Very standard team. Nothing unusual, but certainly scary. Do I want to do, like, Grimmsnarl, Calyrex? I guess I don't want to do anything because they forfeited a preview. Okay. Well, I don't know what my lead was going to be into that. Probably the Pokemon were Keldeo, Calyrex, Grimmsnarl, and Rillaboom, but I don't know the order. Here's a Dozogiri team. Probably with Psych Up, Shadow Rider. That's really scary. How do I beat that? Also, how do I beat Goldango? Do I high horsepower it? And Terra Fire to resist the Make It Rain? I guess. But yeah, then how do I beat Dondozo with this team? I really don't know. Actually, maybe drop the Keldeo this game and bring Incineroar, Grimmsnarl, Rillaboom, Calyrex in some order. Rillaboom can change the terrain on them, they can threaten their Calyrex with Grassy Glide or even just taking a hit and throwing off a Wood Hammer. It gets super effective damage into Dondozo before that terrestrializes. I think I want all my damage mitigation from Incineroar and Grimmsnarl. If Dondozo is unaware, it'll ignore coaching boosts anyway. So I think I'm going to go Incineroar, Grimmsnarl, Rillaboom, Calyrex. I almost clicked on Keldeo because it's the Keldeo video, but I actually don't want to bring Keldeo to this game. Whimsicott, Goldango. Okay. I can target a knockoff or a Flare Blitz into Goldango. I'm actually going to click Flare Blitz because I think something like Terra Steel is reasonable on this team in this format, where Goldango's bulk with like a Water Terra doesn't hold up as well as it does in Reg H. I'll go for Light Screen. They Tailwind. They just make it rain immediately. It's a lot to Grimmsnarl, but it doesn't KO through the Light Screen. We KO Goldango back with a Flare Blitz. And who's coming in? Indeedee. Okay, not a lot of offensive pressure on the board. There's no Encore threat because both of my Pokemon are Dark types. Indeedee doesn't have an item, so this knockoff will not do boosted damage, but it should still do some damage. And I might as well set Reflect. Although I don't think they brought a physical attacker. I think if we see these three first, then the last one is Shadow Rider Calyrex, so maybe Reflect was kind of pointless there. Let's take this opportunity to get my Calyrex in. And I'm actually down to pivot to Rillaboom here to preserve Incineroar for a late game against their Calyrex, but I don't have to because they forfeit. A lot of quick forfeits this session. But I guess that means this team is reasonably strong. Alolan Ninetales. I think I've played this person recently. Or maybe there are multiple people running Alolan Ninetales and White Kyurem. I guess that's more likely. Alolan Ninetales, White Kyurem, Tornadus, quite possibly as a second Snow Setter, Fluttermane, Zacian, and Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon. So my Calyrex will have the Ice-type defense boost in their Snow before it terrestrializes, and it also can't be frozen and it resists Ice, but it is weak to Fusion Flare. But after it terrestrializes, it resists Ice and Fire, but doesn't have those other benefits anymore. Still very strong in this matchup. I like Incineroar here. Especially bulky Ice Resist can intimidate Zacian and Ogerpon. And I suppose Grimmsnarl is reasonable, even though it is threatened by a couple of their things. I think Light Screen is good here. So I'm going to go Grimmsnarl, Calyrex, Incineroar, Keldeo for this one. I think Grimmsnarl and Incineroar lead could have been good as well. And actually, I think I'm going to pivot Incineroar in immediately in front of this Zacian lead. Let's go for Reflect and switch to Incineroar. I guess leading Incineroar would have given me a little bit more initiative, but thought I'd try something a little different this time. It is a little bit tricky that both of their physical attackers are so threatening into Calyrex. Granted, Zacian is a lot less threatening once I terrestrialize Calyrex, but Ogerpon is not. I don't know why they clicked Sacred Sword into Grimmsnarl. Maybe they thought Incineroar would switch into that slot for some reason, but I'm just going to go Light Screen and... I mean, I'll take this Flare Blitz into Zacian if they let me. I don't know how much it'll do through Aurora Veil. If I catch Ogerpon coming in, that's also good to get some chip on that with a chance to burn it. But no, they leave Zacian in. They do a lot of damage, admittedly, to Incineroar. The Flare Blitz does more than half back. I do think I have to let Incineroar go down here to pivot somebody. Actually, no, I was going to say maybe I can just bring Keldeo in, but not on the Dazzling Gleam. I'm going to click Parting Shot with both of my Pokemon into this Zacian, actually. Grimmsnarls will have priority, and I can pivot Calyrex into that slot, and then they probably knock out Incineroar before it gets to execute its own Parting Shot, but who knows? Maybe they even switch here. Nope, they Terra Fairy. Yeah, so I'll pivot Calyrex in. What are they looking to make sure they can take a Flare Blitz? Oh, because they're targeting that slot with a Behemoth Blade. I see. So it's a little bit silly, but this is just going to be another Parting Shot into Zacian right now. Wow, Ninetales max speed is 1 point faster than Keldeo, and I think this probably is max speed Ninetales. I don't know why it wouldn't be. So I don't think I bring Keldeo in here. That's kind of awkward. I think what I'm going to do is just Glacial Lance, Terrifier, Glacial Lance, and I'm going to Spirit Break the Zacian slot to cover for a switch into something like Ogerpon. Oh, or even Kyurem. It is Kyurem, okay. I figured Zacian didn't want to stick around after all those attack drops. Dazzling Gleam crits the Calyrex. Guess it's just as well that it's resisted now. We get a Spirit Break into Kyurem. We get Glacial Lance. It's not going to do a ton of damage into two Ice types and Snow with Aurora Veil. But, you know, weakening the Kyurem here is nice. I guess Calyrex is now weak to Earth Power, so Kyurem does still have coverage into it. But I think that's all the more reason to click. Kyurem is not in Glacial Lance range. I guess click High Horsepower into the Kyurem. And Parting Shot. Get Incineroar back in. Maybe I could go. Keldeo being threatened by this Ninetales is making things kind of awkward for me because I've never yet wanted to bring Keldeo in. They do have Earth Power, and it crits. I bet that doesn't KO without that crit. But anyway, Snow's over. Bring Keldeo in now. I can Secret Sword Kyurem, and I guess I'll just throw a Flare Blitz at Ninetales if they let me. But yeah, Calyrex, this is the one problem with this team. It's kind of all in on the Calyrex, so that dropping to a crit there probably loses the game. Incineroar surviving that Dazzling Gleam is pretty nice. I actually knock out the Ninetales. Well, I got a trade here with the Flare Blitz, but now I have Grimmsnarl and Keldeo against Zacian and Ogerpon. They did a good job I don't know why they said Poggers in chat, but they did a good job preserving the Ogerpon until now. That's probably GG. Is there some way through it? I don't think there is. I'll Hydro Pump Zacian and hope it KOs, and I'm going to Parting Shot Ogerpon and lose to that. What happened? They knock out Grimmsnarl, and they just knock out Keldeo through Reflect with the -1 Woodhammer. Fair enough. Yeah. So losing Calyrex there kind of sank the whole team. That is the one significant problem. Maybe not the one significant problem, but the biggest problem with this build that I have here. But it's been fun. Coaching could be pretty strong into Rayquaza and Arceus. This looks like an extreme speed spamming team, especially with the Chien-Pao powering them up. I do have to watch out, actually, for that powerful extreme speed, you know, before the close combat, or before the close combat, before the coaching goes off. The good news is they can only have one clear amulet. The rest of the team is for Farigiraf, Amoonguss, and Fluttermane, so actually leading Incineroar into this looks very strong. I'll do Incineroar, Grimmsnarl, Calyrex, Keldeo for this one. That seems to be the core four for this team. I haven't... so far it's looking like one where I'm just not actually bringing Ursaluna to games. But we'll see what happens here. Maybe I could have just slapped like an Iron Hands or something onto the team for another coaching recipient that is strong and hard for opponents to remove. I actually think, yeah, Iron Hands could have been pretty good here. Probably. The clear amulet is not on either of these, so it's probably on Arceus. That means we get Intimidate into these guys immediately. I think I'm down to... I want to remove the Chien-Pao if I can. It probably has a Focus Sash. Let's see if they let me fake it out. And I'll go for Reflect. No, they bring Farigiraf in to that slot. Makes sense. Maybe I got a little greedy, but it would have been cool if it worked. The good news here is... I think I can get Calyrex in pretty easily by just clicking Parting Shot into Rayquaza with both of my Pokemon. Oh no, Grimmsnarl Parting Shot won't work because of the Farigiraf. Okay, just Incineroar Parting Shot then. And I might as well set Light Screen. I don't know what their last Pokemon is. It's probably Arceus. The Light Screen probably doesn't matter. Let's Spirit Break this instead. Special attack drop doesn't matter, but at least I get some damage. Oh, I get a lot of damage. Alright, well, opponent can now pick their poison. They can Extreme Speed one of my Pokemon. The other one will not cut Rayquaza. I'm actually gonna... It's risky, but I'm... Oh, yeah, they can do that too. I was thinking, if they take Grimmsnarl out, I get Incineroar back in. That's not the worst thing. But no, this is what happens instead. Alright, I'll switch Incineroar into the Grimmsnarl slot here. So it's only +1 Extreme Speed with Helping Hand. It's still going to be very strong. It crits. That's 2 games in a row that I got that the opponent crit my Calyrex, and I probably lose the game to that. What can you do? A little bit annoying, though, to be honest. But it's Pokemon. These things happen. I'm just going to double target the Rayquaza because I don't trust that it doesn't get a KO before going down. Oh, okay. Well, double targeting the Farigiraf is alright. After Rayquaza drops the Life Orb damage. Okay, we don't quite KO. And now Arceus is here. I don't think there's any use trying to pivot Incineroar around because this is probably where the Clear Amulet is. Be nice to get a knockoff into this. I don't think they'll let me. Terra Ghost Incineroar would be nice right now. They actually targeted Grimmsnarl. Okay, I do get to knock off Arceus. But I'm down to my... Oh, Choice Band? Wait, they're not running a Clear Amulet at all. They're just not afraid of anything, I guess. Maybe... Okay, maybe I survive an Extreme Speed with the Focus Sash and I Secret Sword this, and they target this and knock off KO's Farigiraf. That is my one way back into this game. It might actually work. So I'm calling that they Extreme Speed Keldeo and they don't attack with Farigiraf. Keldeo survives with the Focus Sash, KO's Arceus with Secret Sword, and Incineroar KO's Farigiraf. Farigiraf protects, and Arceus KO's Incineroar. So I get that wrong, but I do get a Secret Sword into Arceus, but it doesn't KO. Alright. Wow. That'll be GG, I think. Even if I do knock out Arceus here, they just have to double up with that in Farigiraf. And they'll KO Keldeo through the Sash, or Chien-Pao will beat Keldeo when it's at 1 HP. Or, you know, close enough to 1 HP. Oh. Keldeo continues to take hits better than I expect. I guess I'm not accounting for the Reflect, even though it's such a core part of this team. I still don't think I win from here, but, yeah. They double protect. I mean, Chien-Pao probably has a Focus Sash still intact as well, so it was always going to be an uphill battle. Even if that other turn had worked out the way I said. That is pretty unfortunate, having my Calyrex get crit 2 games in a row, but that's the part of the risk of building a team that's so dependent on one Pokemon to do well, right? Good players always say you want to build your teams to be consistent. I mean, I'm goofing around on the ladder here. I'm not as bothered about it. Some of my teams are intentionally silly, but if you're preparing for a tournament, you want a team that's consistent, and we've gotten a demonstration in this video of why relying so heavily on one specific Pokemon to put in work over time is kind of inherently not a very consistent way to build. So that is a very serious flaw in this team that I'm fine with for this ladder session, but it is a limit to what this strategy can do. I do think Iron Hands instead of Ursaluna might have been fun, though, and would have given me that second win con. Although, then what do I not bring in? You know, which of Incineroar and Grimmsnarl do I drop in a given matchup to make that work? Galarian Wheezing is a problem because it can turn off Prankster and Intimidate. I think Incineroar or Grimmsnarl lead might be good anyway because they threaten the Shadow Rider. And against most of these Pokemon, Grimmsnarl should be able to set a screen up anyway, even without priority. I also could just throw Calyrex at them. Go for early Trick Room. I could do like Incineroar, Calyrex. Fake something out, go for early Trick Room, bring Ursaluna in the back, try to win with that. I actually think this is the game where I bring Ursaluna, so let's do that. And then I can do Keldeo, Rillaboom, or Grimmsnarl. None of them are super convincing in this matchup. I guess I'll bring Keldeo, because the Sash gives it a chance to attack, even in Trick Room. You're not the real channel, are you? I am the real Slowpoke Well YouTube channel, if that's what you mean. Okay. Calyrex and Chanpao. Scary lead, scary lead. Terrafire, Trick Room. Fake out. Take the Astral Barrage, get Trick Room up. Take a lot of damage in the process, though. Life Orb, Calyrex. Why should I believe you? The username should be a clue. Okay. Do I or do I Glacial Lance? I think I protect and attack something with Incineroar. Flare Blitz. And if Incineroar goes down, then I get somebody. I get Ursaluna in to threaten their Calyrex. I don't know that Incineroar does go down, though. No, not to an Astral Barrage. Who's coming in? Ooh, I hope it's not Zamazenta. Zamazenta is really hard to deal with in this position. So it's probably going to be Zamazenta. It's Urshifu. Okay. I'll just Glacial Lance and knock off into Calyrex. They didn't sucker. The Glacial Lance actually almost KO'd the Calyrex. Kind of awkward that it didn't. Would have gotten a Grim Neigh. Chilling Neigh. Would have gotten a Chilling Neigh. There's the Zamazenta now. I'll high horsepower that. I'm aware that they can Sucker Punch Calyrex. Actually, with that in mind, I'll protect to read the Sucker Punch and Flare Blitz Urshifu. They do go for Sucker Punch. We do get the Flare Blitz to take out Urshifu. What does Zamazenta do? Knocks out Incineroar with Body Press. One turn of Trick Room left. They can just protect through it, but I'll go Ursaluna here. Zamazenta, even after this turn, can only knock out one of my Pokemon at a time. And then I also have Keldeo in the back. I hit it with Secret Sword. Although Secret Sword doing physical damage is not actually that valuable into Zamazenta. But no, I've never done TCG. I don't know if they know who I am or not. I have been recognized on Showdown before. But like, I don't know if they're confusing me with someone else or they're just inferring from my username that there must be a YouTube channel called Slowpoke Well, or if they've seen the videos before. If you are a viewer, hi. Good to run into you. But I am a little bit puzzled by what you're saying in the chat right now. I have never... I like played the TCG turbo casually when I was a literal child, and like Gen 2 was current gen. But that's pretty much the extent of my exposure to it. I don't know anything about the modern game. They're flying! Whoa! Okay, they got me good with that. Hold on. They're flying Zamazenta. I feel like I've seen that recently before. But it's certainly not something I'm used to. Let's Hydro Pump and Facade. Why do I know you then? I don't know. Zamazenta is also faster than my Keldeo? Am I not running max speed Keldeo? Because I think I am. Oh, I guess Zamazenta is just... Is Zamazenta that much faster than Keldeo? Did I mess up my EVs? Oh no, Keldeo is actually not that fast. It's like base 108. Never mind. Alright. forgot. Keldeo is slower than I thought. How did you win? I mean, ultimately, I didn't get the rolls I needed with Hydro Pump, right? First one did 50, but then the second one did less than 50. Terra flying. Got me good. I am not used to Terra flying Zamazenta. That's pretty cool. I mean, as long as you don't run into a Miraidon, but then I guess you have other things for that, like Weezing and Champao. I believe that is 3 losses. Already, wow. Yeah, this team is fun. It's certainly not the worst I've made in this series, but being all in on Calyrex like that is a little bit rough. Although Ursaluna would have won this game if I'd known about the Terra Flying, but yeah. They did, in fact, I don't know if you can see the chat, I wrote Terra Flying got me good. They did, in fact, get me good with that. I'm going to get one more game. I'm going to go Keldeo, Calyrex lead, go for coaching stuff, no matter what the matchup is. Let's see what happens. They haven't left the game, but they're also not talking anymore. I'll check back in a bit. Shadowrunner, Koraidon, Landorus, Incineroar, Brute Bonnet, Raging Bolt. I do not think this lead is going to work in this matchup, but I'm committing to it. Actually, let's bring Ursaluna to this one. I might want to aggressively Trick Room here again. Okay, Incineroar, Calyrex, so they can fake out here. I guess I just protect. And I hope they don't Nasty Plot. Uh-oh. Yeah, I do lose to Nasty Plot with that play. Is there something else I can do? I can switch to my Incineroar. I did say I was going to go for coaching immediately no matter what, but I don't know how committed I really am to that. Come on, surely 2 horses can figure this thing out. I'm gonna call it they don't Nasty Plot, because that's the best outcome I can get while still committing to the bet. Nice. Alright, now, thanks to the Focus Sash, I'll get a coaching, and I'll Terra Fire Trick Room. They could knock off my Clear Amulet, which wouldn't be great, but the coaching... Oh. They did do that, but they also did something worse for me. Well, try Ursaluna outside of Trick Room then. I think I'll Brute Bonnet. Uh-oh. Okay, well this Astral Barrage does nothing to Ursaluna, and Brute Bonnet won't be able to put Ursaluna to sleep once it's burned, so that much is good. I'll pivot Incineroar in here. Might as well preserve the Keldeo. And... Facade Brute Bonnet. Don't want to click Headlong Rush into Calyrex and immediately lower my defenses like that. Also, the Rage Powder would have redirected Headlong Rush into Brute Bonnet. That would have been bad. This takes out Brute Bonnet. They didn't get the Sunset up, so they don't get the likely defense boost from Photosynthesis. +1/+1 Ursaluna outside of Trick Room. It's probably not the worst thing in the world. I also can click Fake Out if they go like Koraidon this next turn. They go Incineroar. Okay. It's not +1 anymore. I'm going to double... I'm not going to double target the Calyrex, but I'm going to click Knockoff into it. So if they fake out the Ursaluna, then I get the knockoff into Calyrex. It is -1 knockoff, but... This one might actually be a Sash Calyrex. I haven't seen any Life Orb chips, so... Breaking the Sash would be good. They protect it. Okay. Knock off the Flame Orb is fine. Facade here. Don't quite get the KO. Do kind of want to Earthquake here. It basically sacks my own Incineroar. But Incineroar being faster than Ursaluna, I can still get a knockoff into something first. I'm just going to do it. Then, ideally, I knock out their Calyrex here. Maybe I don't, and I throw my Incineroar away foolishly. But... if I can get Keldeo or my Calyrex back in a somewhat more favorable position, that would be nice. I guess both of their restricteds being faster than Keldeo is an issue for it in this game. They switched Koraidon here. So yeah, not the greatest. Oh, they also knock out their own Incineroar, so I actually kind of hate that I clicked Earthquake here. Knock out my own Incineroar when they still have Calyrex in the back. And yeah. Okay, that was a bad Earthquake. I think I lose to their restricted duo now. I will make an attempt to click the Trick Room here. I think that's the best thing I can do. But they're threatening a lot of damage before that goes off. Did this person ever say anything else? No? Okay. Terra Ghost. Oh yeah, that's going to be big, big damage. Flame Charge? Wait! They let me have the Trick Room. Wait, it is a different ball game now. Glacial Lance. Headlong Rush. It's finally time. Just as Ursaluna's about to faint. Headlong Rush into this Calyrex. And Keldeo being slower than both their Pokemon, even it will benefit from the Trick Room. Although I still have to land Hydro Pump and do enough damage with it in Sun if it's into the Calyrex. Because that's immune to Secret Sword. I don't know why you don't double my Calyrex there. They protect both. Oh, am I gonna... Ursaluna's gonna faint here, right? I don't know, burn damage. Is it 6% or 8%? 6%, nice. Glacial Lance Headlong Rush. Was it 8% in some past generation? Let me know in the comments. Not really... I think I very likely win this game, but I'm not really sure how that happened. They went for double protect on both Pokemon, so yeah, that'll seal it. They didn't get Keldeo back onto the field, but even if they had knocked one of my guys out here, Keldeo had a chance to land a game-winning Hydro Pump into Calyrex or something like that. Alright, feels like a bit of a dubious win in that one, but we certainly will take those and end the session on that. Keldeo, Calyrex, Incineroar, Ursaluna had its moments, actually. It was not a bad addition to this team. I do think Iron Hands could have been interesting, but Keldeo, Calyrex, Incineroar, Grimmsnarl was a fun core with the obvious flaw that when they crit Calyrex, I pretty much lost games on the spot. That wasn't the only way that I lost, but it did come up a couple of times. But yeah, coaching Keldeo. Keldeo has a lot of trouble in this format because it doesn't... It's not one of the fastest restricted Pokemon. It's not super tanky, and it doesn't have all the Ursaluna perks. Or Shifu perks, I said the wrong bear. It doesn't have all the benefits of a certain other water and fighting type, but I did actually find something fun to do with it, and I'm definitely happy with that. I love when the video works out reasonably well like that, even with the suboptimal restricted. Of course, there are still a bunch of Pokemon on the wheel yet to try. Some of them probably stronger than Keldeo, and some of them probably weaker than Keldeo. You'll just have to tune in next time to see what's next.